Mission Hope. Inspirational stories of faith and triumph. Life's many upheavals, sharp curves, twists and turns, the challenging circumstances coming right at you are nonstop. The inner wars within are outside your control and feel overwhelming. You feel alone, and the seemingly endless battles rage on. You feel like you have lost all hope and faith, questioning, why me? Why now? How can I handle another blow? The answers you're seeking are in this collection of 20 uplifting stories in this book. Within its golden pages, from the deep confines of their hearts and souls, these extraordinary authors have opened up and are here to assist you in navigating the deep, daunting, and dark waters that you are facing. Each story is unique in its experience, but similar in the fact that through everything presented to them in life, these authors have found the way back to success, peace, and joy through hope and faith. These authors have turned tragedy into tranquility once again. Now, they are here to empower you to shift from what once was fear and failure into the future of your dreams. They offer as a gift to you the freedom to choose your destiny. Now, it's time to turn the key and walk through the door. Hear from the authors themselves as they share their journey and story with you here on Living the Next Chapter.
Okay, everyone. So we've already been chatting for the last, a long time already with my guest. Vicki's here, and we're going to be talking about her being a part of Mission Hope, the next book in the series with Shar Murphy, the amazing Shar Murphy. There's the book right there on the screen. It's beautiful, by the way. Vicki's here. We're going to be talking about the book. We're going to be talking about Vicki's journey to joy, and behind the scenes, I get the chance to talk to my guests in advance and have a conversation before we meet and record. Vicki and I met, and what was meant to be a short little conversation to talk podcasting turned into a friendship. And I am so thrilled to have Vicki here on the podcast. Vicki, welcome to Living the Next Chapter.
Thank you, David. I'm happy to be living and telling the story.
It's amazing. So, okay, I want to talk right off the bat. I want to talk joy. Right now, our world is suffering for joy, deep joy that lasts, that brings healing and freedom and community. It can bring so many things. So talk a little bit about your mission in life, because in speaking with you, you've helped frame my thought around joy. And I want to help the listener to also experience what you've given to me in your journey. Talk a little bit about your mission in life.
Sure. Well, my mission in life started out when I was a little girl and I experienced trauma, and I needed a way out to understand my own life and my way in the world. And I started noticing other people. When I was about 11 years old, I started looking at people that appeared happy, people that seemed joyful. I didn't really understand the word of joy back then. But what I started to notice was there were people around me, elders, who just seemed so content and so satisfied. And they didn't have a lot. But what they had was a presence and a peace about them. And they had something to turn to. And they were simple people. But it was about not so much the stuff that they had, but what they gave to me, which was hugs and love and listening and conversation and presence. So for me, the journey to joy is to understand the difference between happiness and joy, because they're completely different, and in our culture, they're inadvertently used often as the same thing, where joy is very eternal. It's a birthright. It's given to us when we're born. It's always there. Whereas happiness is external, it's experiences, it's in the moment, it's fleeting, and you can't actually feel joy and not be happy, meaning that happy people usually come from a place of joy. They have a wellspring of some internal inside job, I call it, versus people that just keep striving for happiness. You just see them. They're on the hamster wheel. It's the next car, it's the house, it's the degree, it's the clothing line, it's the stuff. And they're never quite happy. They're just constantly looking for the next best thing. You see that a lot in Hollywood. So, my passion project is to bring joy back to a weary world. And what makes it unique for me is I'm a geneticist. I study the DNA of everything. I've been in the pharmaceutical industry for over 30 years, and I've always had a penchant for writing. And I actually have a story who's made me who I am. And I know who I am because I know whose I am and where I come from. And that is the basis for joy in my life. To be a chief joy officer, you first have to be the CEO of yourself. And then you get to find joy.
There's so many directions we can go right now.
I know.
You set me up. I love it. Talk a little bit about the Joy Kindler as well. Let's mention this.
Okay, so there's a contemporary Christian singer. His name is Michael Card, and I have always been enamored with his music. And he came out with an album probably 20 years ago, maybe longer, called The Star Kindler. And I read the inside of the cassette, and you remember with the days of albums, and inside the cassette was Bible passages and Michael Card's explanation on what it meant to be a star kindler. And as Christians, how we're each like a star in the sky. And it's a very deep conversation. But for me, I've always been a kindler of things. I've always been one who was a spark. And I knew that a spark kindles a flame, and a flame builds a fire. And what do people do with fire? They either run from it or they come to it to warm up to it. So when I was in 7th grade, my guidance counselor, Dr. Poisella, I love you dearly, but you were the one that said this to Mom. He said that I was like a firecracker and that I needed to be harnessed because I was either going to blow the world up and burn it down because I was so big. My personality was so big and I had such a shine that I needed to be sort of harnessed because this energy that I have was exponential. And he said I was going to do great things in life. And it's kind of funny because now at almost 60 years old, when I look back to every single thing I've done in my career and my path to here, I have been kind of going off like a firecracker. So for me to be a joy kindler, I am somebody who is able to innately kindle joy for herself, but also kindle it for other people because I'm a connector. I easily win other people over. My number one strength is learner. So I've done a lot of academic research on joy. I actually went back to grad school at 55 years old and got a master's degree in executive leadership. And the research I did was on human motivation, happiness, and joy. And I wrote a thesis on the soul, SOLE, of a corporation is based on the soul, SOUL, of its people. And if you don't have belonging and the right cultural attributes, it comes off as virtue signaling, and it comes off as what we see happening in the world right now, where people know they don't belong. They know they've gotten a role because they're filling a census. And that to me is not a joyful way to be in a job or in a role. So I want to be the voice. I want to be the one that's not afraid to stand up and say, that's wrong. You need to recruit people for the right reasons. And we need to include everybody, and people need to have diversity, equity, inclusivity, and belonging. And if you don't have the belonging piece, there's no joy in the culture. And we could talk a lot about that too.
Yeah, I know. We could have a whole week interview here.
Yes.
We could just talk. But yeah, we would need to take breaks if we do that.
Yes. So like as a joy kindler, it can be, I can go into corporations and I can speak to the sales teams and I can motivate them to the company's mission, to understand their why, and to go out every day and be the face of that company so that when they wake up, they know that they're going out as servant leaders. They're going out to serve, not sell. And that's a really important aspect right now in the world because I don't think people understand all of the techniques to, to selling with integrity. So there's a part of me that's been in pharmaceutical sales for 30 years. I'm a sales leader. I am predominantly a winner, and something's missing in the culture amongst sales teams. Then you could pull it back to organizations. You can pull it back to church groups. So the message that I give is called Livin' Jagged. So my tagline is, every day I want to remember, connect, and celebrate life with people. And I want to help others remember, connect, and celebrate lives with themselves, because we're not remembering anymore. We're connecting less, even though we're more connected than we've ever been. And we're not celebrating because everybody's too exhausted to celebrate because they're too busy striving. So where's the joy? And where do you find joy in those micro moments? What do you do to give yourself a burst, a pop of joy that helps you be more productive in your job? So then Livin' Jagged is the talk. And it's all about how joy never travels alone. It's always found with abundance, and it's always found with gratitude. And if you add a little bit more grace to that, you have jagged: joy, abundance, grace, and gratitude every day. So if people come to work, if they wake up in their family and they're investing in their relationships and they're feeling more joy, innate joy, not superficial happiness, but innate joy, all of a sudden things look different. Relationships repair, siblings speak to each other again, teammates collaborate better, people get healed, they feel healthier, they're praying, they're meditating, whatever it is, they're standing in nature, they're looking at sunrises and sunsets, they're feeling awe, and they're getting back to the wonder and the human nature of curiosity. So that's what joy means to me from a academic experience. Also, there's a gene for happiness, which we can get into that too. But some people have more of it, some people have less of it. But, we are our environment, we are our genetics, and we can actually impact part of that by how we sort. So I'm here as a messenger of joy. So people can sort and read books and get techniques and different things to be able to kindle joy for themselves.
The name makes sense. And again, when I go camping with the family and stuff, we have our bonfire, we cook marshmallows and all that. But it starts with that kindling to start the fire, right? And once that fire starts roaring, then, we get to the result that we're looking for. So it takes all those steps, right?
Yeah.
Warmth, yeah.
People are looking for connection.
Yeah.
We don't hug.
No.
We're not in community, and we're certainly not listening. And I think that, Colin Smith is the world's listening coach, and he's out of the UK. And I got to meet him in Greenwich, London. And he stopped me in the middle of a busy marketplace and told me to settle and be quiet and just listen. And we connected, our hearts connected. And he changed my life last year. I always thought I was a good listener, but I didn't realize that I wasn't as good as I thought I was until I met Colin. And when you listen, you're actually invoking joy into the other person's soul because they're feeling heard. And it isn't about what I'm going to say next. It's letting that person have the space to think and to actually speak with no judgment, with nothing. And just think about with our children, they come and tell us something, and then we have to tell them something back or reprimand them or give them more guidance. And I think about, I wish I knew this when my daughter was younger. She's 29 now. Kelsey, I'm sorry that I didn't listen all the time, that I tried to tell you what to do and didn't let you think for yourself sometimes, because you've been my greatest teacher. You've been the best gift I've ever been given. And learning from you changed my life. And then Colin changed it again by telling me, let Kelsey have space to be with you. Let her be with you. It doesn't always have to be dictatorial or guiding. And I think as parents, we try to do that. And we try to do that in our work too. We try to, help people know what to do. And inherently, people know what to do. Inherently, people know right from wrong. People can convict themselves. But when we sit in the presence of another human being and we let them talk and we hear them, That's the miracle. The miracle is not what we say, it's what we let other people say.
Okay, I'm going to leave now, and this is your podcast because this is what I needed to hear today.
Oh, Dave.
You're speaking right into my soul, so I want you to know that. Like,
thank you.
And I think in our relationships with our partners, and again with our children, and
yeah,
like you said, at work, if we could just hold space for each other. I've been talking to another author, and she sees the world very different than I do. And had we met out in the wild of the world, we probably never would have even connected the way we did through a podcast. And I said to her that, imagine you or I have our hands full and we're trying to get to the front door of this big building because we have to go to a meeting or something. All this stuff, and we can't get the door open. And the person ahead of us just goes to the door, looks back at us, and we're looking at them with hope in our eyes. Oh, please hold the door. I can't, help me. Please just 1 second. And we're rushing up to the door. And in that moment, they look at us and make a judgment. Does this person matter to me or not? Right in this moment, should I keep the door open or not? And sometimes I think a lot of people default to, and they let the door shut.
Yeah.
And I think as human beings, we should all try our best to hold the door for each other.
Absolutely.
In whatever that is in life. It doesn't matter what you believe, who you are, any of that stuff. In that moment, we're two human beings.
Yeah.
And how can I serve you?
Yep.
So hearing you say these words reinforces that I'm trying to get to the place where that's a reality for me as well. So
it's about settling. And my favorite word in the whole human language is held. And I've been in many situations. One of the first times I actually used the word out loud was I got to participate in a gratitude encounter with Kevin Monroe, who is like the world's gratitude coach. He's amazing. And during the pandemic, he was holding these gratitude encounters on LinkedIn, and they were free. They were an hour long. They were every other week, and they were global. And it was the first time I ever sat in the presence of my own gratitude. And again, just like Colin, being in Kevin's presence, it made me realize that I could actually deepen and intensify the gratitude and the gratefulness that I already had in my own heart. And then all of this started happening because, again, the abundance mentality, the joyfulness, the gratefulness. How can you be an unhappy person if you're grateful? How can you be a non-joyful spirit if you're content and satisfied with what you've been given? And there's such a dichotomy in the world because we are marketed to want more. We are told by social media that we're not enough unless we have certain things, that it doesn't, that you yourself are not worthy. You're only worthy if you're wearing that designer brand or driving that car, and you won't be relaxed unless you're in that car and or on that vacation. You can't just go on a vacation. You have to go on the best vacation ever. And I just feel that my grandparents, even though they had less, they had so much more because they had time. Because my grandparents watered their lawn. They did the chores. And, there's a big talk now about the blue zones. And if you look around the world at the people that are living the longest, it's the Costa Ricans, it's the Icarians in Greece, it's the Sardinians in Italy, it's the people from Loma Linda, California. It's the people who actually do their own chores. It's the Okinawans, if I didn't say that already, but when you watch, there's a Netflix series and it's 4 shows and it's the most incredible show speaking to we as Americans farm out as much as we can, clean my house, wash my car, mow my lawn, rake my leaves, and we're killing ourselves because those movements and that exercise brings joy because people that use their hands, they have ikigai. They have purpose. The Japanese die with purpose. and they stay in community. And the Sardinians take care of their elderly relatives. You don't see any dementia or Alzheimer's because these cultures work the land. They grind their own coffee beans. They do those little things that give them pride every day. And there's joy from prideful work. Prideful is not the right word. There's joy from having pride in your work. Like my dad.
Yeah.
My dad, being a blue collar electrician, he worked with his hands every day. He served other people. It wasn't about his clothes. It wasn't about anything. Did he have a good pair of work boots? And did he know how to do the wiring? And people have lights on in their house? Or, I just feel like we've gotten so far away from it. We've taken it out of the schools. God love Mike Rowe for trying to bring it back. But, where are the tradesmen? Where are the people who sculpt and fix shoes and do the jobs that have meaning? Because at the end of the day, you're not tethered to a device and you don't have to get on and do reports. You're done. You were an electrician. You were a pharmacy delivery person. You were a seamstress. My gram used to iron other people's shirts. It's just, I don't know how we get so far away from what really matters. And then we wonder why we don't have any joy. We rush. We rush through life. We don't even read books. I pray to God that people buy this book and read it because it's in chunked, bite-sized, 6-page chapters that will inspire you and see how other people found triumph because they tapped back into their faith. And if it wasn't for Charlotte Murphy, I wouldn't have been having this podcast with you because she asked me to be in volume 1 and I said no because I wasn't saying yes to the right things. And that's how I got here because I started to realize that in order to be a joy kindler, I had to get to my best yeses. And I get to my best yeses by saying no to the things that don't fulfill the mission field and the passion project of bringing joy back to the world. So when Shar asked me, have I triumphed over something? And did faith play a part in my life? I just basically stopped in my tracks and said yes. And then I dragged my feet. I have a book that I've been writing for a long time. I have journals. I have Post-it notes. And I was so convicted that at 3:33 in the morning on Mother's Day of this year, I got up and I grabbed a pen and I put it to paper and I scribed my entire chapter. And by dawn, it was done. I read it to my husband. He sobbed. He couldn't believe it. We've been together 37 and a half years. He said, I can't believe I didn't know all that. It's like reading about another person, but knowing it's you makes it even more meaningful. And then I didn't share it with anybody until the book was published. And a first friend read it. And it's been a tsunami of incredibleness for being vulnerable enough to tell a story that for the most part could shame people. And I decided that I wouldn't be victimized by what happened to me or what happened in our family, that I was going to be a generational chain breaker and I was going to stop the crazy. And I was going to get off that train and help other people be brave enough to use their voice to tell the world their story, because we learn from story.
Yeah. Amazing. So you guys have a great author community that's come around the creation of the book. Talk a little bit about some of the other authors you've been in touch with.
Yes.
New friends.
Yes.
New contacts.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about this community that you guys are a part of.
Well, they're all new to me, except for Shar. And I did know Dom Demansky prior. He was one of the first people that ever reached out on LinkedIn when he started reading what I've written about joy. And he's like, do you have a book inside of you? I think you do. So we developed a friendship. And of course, I told him no too. But Fabian Avila is near to me. She lives by me. And she has this incredible mission field that she's on. And also, I got really close to Elizabeth Uribe. I don't know if I'm saying her name right, but I read Elizabeth is chapter 1. And I read Elizabeth's story last week because I want to savor each chapter. And we have very similar experiences. So when people triumph over adversity together, I think there's a bond, there's a spiritual connection. And also, I love ML. What's his name? ML
M.L.
Sutton.
Sutton.
And he posts beautiful nature pictures on Facebook every day that I now lean into, which give me my moment of awe and joy. And then I don't want to leave anyone else out, but there's other people that I've connected with. Maria Laitman over in Finland.
Yeah.
She does amazing videos, and there's this there's this global society of goodness that just swirls around all of us. We have a very well-connected chat group. Everybody is supportive. They share ideas and they tell their stories. And it almost makes me want to get online and read each one of their stories out loud, because each person in this book, from the epilogue, from the prologue, from the people who wrote the recommendations in this book for me, Tim West, Calvin Lawrence, Brett Pullman, Colin Smith, I really got no's. I never did this before, and most of the recommendations in the book are from just people who connected with me and felt honored to be asked to write something about a book on faith and triumph. So I'm very grateful to be a part of this. I'm humbled and honored to share my story across the world. And for anyone that reads this chapter about me, I'm chapter 11, and my chapter is called Dragons, Dreams, and Dragonflies. And it's my journey from not breathing fire as a dragon, being a very heavy, mean animal, to dreaming a new future for myself, and to coming out as a dragonfly, and the spiritual meaning of dragonflies, and that they represent the afterlife, and they come from under the water and they can't go back. And once they have their metamorphosis, they are a new creature, sort of like a butterfly coming out of a cocoon. And, I like to say to people that we go through life putting our ladders up on walls, and we climb those ladders and we get to the roof and we're like, wait a minute. Oh my goodness, this isn't the building I wanted to be on. I just climbed up all these rungs in this corporation and I'm at the top, and I'm like, whoa, that wasn't even what I wanted to do. So then you go back down and you move your ladder. It's the same thing with butterflies and dragonflies. They climb up a reed. They're being pushed off by others who are blooming, right? And sometimes you get pushed off before you get your wings. It's really important to pause. It's really important to know where you're leaning your ladder. It's really important to know what reeds you're climbing up, and what's the purpose. We use that word purpose. What is our purpose? What are we here for? I think it's more of an essence. I think everybody feels something inside of them, but they're on this treadmill, make more money, get more things, keep that job. And they're afraid to jump, and they don't take their time climbing, looking, discerning. Was there any wonder? Was there awe? Do they feel themselves breathing? Is there peace in their heart? And that's what I'm here to just remind people to reflect. I feel like I'm doing all the talking, but there's just so much in my heart. And one of my favorite quotes is from Edith Wharton, that there are two ways of spreading light. One is to be the mirror. No, one is to be the candle. The other is to be the mirror that reflects it. So you can shine and you can reflect. And there's different times in life when you have to be different things. So it's an awareness. Is it my time to shine right now? Does somebody need light? Or is it my time to sit back and listen and be reflective and hear what the world is saying? And if you ask me, and the people that I see running around in New York City every day, we're rushing through life and we only get one life. And we're the editor.
Yeah. The reason why you're talking so much is because you need to. I am overwhelmed with thoughts while you talk. So I, to your earlier point, want to stay out of the way and hold space for you, because the world needs your message right now. More than anything, we need it. And I'm always here to encourage you to keep moving forward with this message. And I know your community loves and supports you. And you have a great network of people that are around you. To that point, I would love to kind of throw the microphone over to you and for Shar that's listening to this episode, because I know she listens to every episode around the book. If I was to get up and leave, which I'm not, but if I could leave right now and Shar took my chair, took my spot, and it's you and Shar together, I'm not here. What would you like to say to Shar from your perspective? It's just you and her.
Shar, I just want you to know how much I love you and what a beautiful soul you are. And you are such a thriving survivor. And what you offer the world with this vision that you've had and this dream of the Mission Hope anthology and all the people that are coming into your circle because you draw them in with your charisma and your own personal stories, that you are a change maker and you are helping people find their way back to faith and to peacefulness and to a place where they can tap in. It's like a breath of fresh air. And you've put together these amazing books, and there's more to come. But I'm so grateful for the first one, and I'm even more grateful for the second one, and that you asked me to participate. And you didn't tell me, you just kind of pulled me in, which is what I say is so important. So you didn't push, you pulled, and that's so important for connection. And I wouldn't be doing this podcast if it weren't for you. There's so many people that you've introduced me to, and I'm humbled to be in community. And I just feel that you're a missionary and your mission field is going to change lives. And I'm so happy to be on that mission with you and serving with my passion project of joy. And I just can't wait to see what happens when everybody gets their books and they hold it in their lap and they read the stories, and each story will resonate differently. And I would just like to encourage you that keep going, keep following your own dream, keep connecting with other people, and keep being the servant leader that you are. I think you're a beautiful person. And thank you for your energy. Thank you for your honesty, feedback, and for supporting me. And I'm here to support you. Thank you.
And Shar, we do. I echo that. There's something special about Shar Murphy for me as well. And anytime I get a chance to speak with her or be in her presence, I come away different. To that point as well with you, Vicki. Every time I hear you speak and share your heart and your passion to bring joy back to the world in a meaningful way, not a fleeting way, but a meaningful way that sticks. That's what we need more of right now. So I would love to keep in touch with you and to continue following your journey and have more conversations with you in the future.
And
so please tell me we can do that, because that would be meaningful to me on a personal level. So thank you.
be honored, Dave. I think what you do and the service that you provide and the podcast that you have and how you've just given your life to helping the world be a better place through voice, through sound, and through visual. You have the gifts of technology. You have your own little passion projects. And, I've enjoyed learning about your Coke story. And,
Yeah.
we wouldn't be able to do what we do if we didn't have people like you. So I'm grateful because you're a who for me. And you helped me figure out some really important stuff about how to message the world. And I didn't know how to do that without you. So I'm humbled and really, truly grateful. And thank you for seeing and feeling something in me and reflecting that so I could see it in myself. It matters.
Amazing. So we're going to have links to all things Joy Kindler. We'll have links to our Mission Hope as well. Everything that we've talked about. And I would encourage listeners, if you're looking for someone to come and speak to your group, your community, your organization, around the idea of joy, there is one person that comes to mind, and you need to have Vicki on your stage in front of your community to talk about this, because everyone in the room will have their life changed by having this amazing person in front of them. Vicki, you do it for me every time we talk, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you for doing a day at work and then coming home, rushing through everything to get here on camera with me to do this. That just shows a level of who you are, and I can't wait to see what's next for you.
Thank you so much. May you remember, connect, and celebrate life with all the people that mean something to you. And while you can, tell them that you love them. That changes everything. Love people.
Excellent. Thank you, Vicki.
Thank you.
Everyone go check out all the show notes, and the information will be there. And make sure you buy a copy of the book, Mission Hope. We're talking all about faith. And Vicki is one of the amazing authors in book 2. So thank you again, Vicki.
Thank you.
Hey, just jumping on here at the end. Thank you so much for checking out this episode, Living the Next Chapter, talking about Mission Hope Volume 2. You definitely want to pick up a copy of this book. Head over to ourmissionhope.com, missionhope.com. All the information in the show notes. Get a copy of this book. Get one for yourself. Get one for your best friend. And let's encourage these authors as they write and share their stories with us. If you want to connect with me, my name is Dave. livingthenextchapter.com. livingthenextchapter.com. I would love to have you reach out through the website. Let me know what you think of this episode, what you think of the podcast. And let's encourage our fellow authors, and let's do something great. Thank you for being here on the podcast. Again, it's the second book from our great friend Char Murphy, Mission Hope, Inspirational Stories of Faith and Triumph at ourmissionhope.com. Thanks for being here. Catch you on the next one.
Ready to take your story to the next level? It's time to get off the sidelines and share your story. Join us at Creative Con, where you'll learn the actionable steps from experts and doers to turn your dreams into reality. Whether you're an aspiring podcaster, a seasoned pro, new or published author, speaker, creative, visionary, or dreamer crafting your message, this is your moment to shine. Our panels, workshops, keynotes, and networking opportunities will help you overcome the roadblocks, effectively articulate your message, and share your message to the masses. Discover how to position yourself as an industry leader by leveraging podcasting, publishing, production, and promotions. For those seeking purpose beyond the corporate grind, we'll ignite your passions and guide you to a more fulfilling path. If you've ever thought about breaking free from the 9-to-5 routine and taking control of your destiny, we'll show you how. Authors, you'll learn to expand your horizons and broaden your reach. Creative Con is where you'll find confidence, support, and a clear roadmap to success. If you've ever doubted yourself, this is your chance to step out of your comfort zone and make your creative dreams a reality. Secure your Creative Con tickets now for our virtual December 2nd event and our 2-day live event February 17th to 18th at creativecon.com. That's creativecon.com, creative with an 8. The future is yours. Speak it, write it, live it.